Jerry Jones gives me stuff to talk about every weekend, so this is just a thank you to Jerry Jones from me to you. Just personally to say that when the Cowboys play a game and I'm watching, like I did yesterday, who wasn't watching the Patriots and the Cowboys? What's better than a football game when the weather's bad, it's freezing cold, Bill Belichick goes from his hoodie to his parka, and you can only see his microphone? You're watching, of course you are. And you're saying, wow, the Cowboys are just not in the same league as the New England Patriots. Very often as an owner, we think that the fans don't see what we see. We say things like, we watch the game differently than you do. We are paying attention to little nuances that you don't. Well, if you're Jerry Jones, you're paying attention to everything the fans are paying attention to, and that is that their team has not performed, not just this year, but it's now been decades. The last time the Cowboys were in a championship game, the NFC Championship, I'm going to say it was 1996. That's way too long. So what does Jerry Jones do at the end of every game? He meets the media, and I have no problem with that. I've complimented him on this show for owning up to the fact that he's the owner, president, GM. He's everything, and what he says goes. But when you have that position and you have that microphone and platform, just be careful what you say, because otherwise you end up on nothing personal. And here's what he said yesterday. He called out his team. As you know, Jason Garrett's been hanging on by a thread. It is shocking that he has not been let go after 9 basically ineffective years. All of that said, Jason Garrett's job has been very tenuous. And early in the day yesterday, before the game, a rumor came out that Jason Garrett would have a preferred landing spot at MetLife Stadium. It could be either team at MetLife Stadium at this point, but with the New York Giants. Now, forget the fact that the New York Giants would be very sorry to hire Jason Garrett. The fact is, when you hear a rumor that one of your coaches or players would prefer or may end up somewhere else, you take that very seriously and you react very aggressively. And that's what Jerry Jones did. After the game, he called out his team, especially his special teams, and he said something as general but incredibly specific as, "It is unacceptable how our special teams performed and how they executed." Well, that's not the only thing about the team that was unacceptable. The quality of play, the quality of players, and the quality of coaching have all let the Cowboys down. But what Jerry Jones is doing is from page 4 of the owner playbook, except he delivered the message as the GM. Page 4 of the playbook says, start to plant the seeds for the end of days. And these will be the end of Jason Garrett's days. It's just a matter of if not when. It's likely they'll let him go to the end of the season. After all, they are still in position to make the playoffs. But Jerry Jones watched his team yesterday and knew immediately that his team could not compete yet again for another Super Bowl. And then he went home and he watched the night game where it became even clearer that the Niners and the Packers are even just as hard to get through, just to get into the Super Bowl as a member of the NFC.